initiative, but they don't have anything.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm
Sure.
wonderful. I am going to try doing this out here. There's a very possible chance that my neighbor will start mowing and then I'll hide, but it is too beautiful. And I was in class all day, so.
Good for you. Enjoy being outside. It is so beautiful.
Yes.
I'm outside with the chickens, actually.
Are you? Oh, good, Susan.
They're wandering around.
Hi.
Jesse,
So Susan, where are you located?
I'm in central Montgomery County, so I'm not in a town or anything. I'm between Lansdale and Collegeville, roughly.
Oh, so it's not that far from Phoenixville.
No, maybe half an hour. Yeah. But Phoenixville is very different because it's such an intact town, and
yes,
you know, there's enough population density that I'm sure you can get a lot of volunteers and a lot of projects going.
Well, we try.
It sounds really neat. Jesse, Jane was just telling me about an initiative called Living Landscapes in Phoenix. You know about it?
Just a little bit. I believe that Shannon was talking to me about it, another member that we have.
She spoke to our Living Landscapes group last Friday. She spoke about native plants and about wild ones. And it was just a wonderful, magical evening.
Wonderful.
As we got to sit outside, and it was such a beautiful evening. And we had a nice group of people.
Hi, Erin. I think Erin joined from that group too, right?
I don't know Erin. Hi, Erin. But Erin, you're muted.
Erin, we can't hear you because your microphone's not on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
So, which one of is Shannon here?
She's not here yet.
Okay. So I found your page through Facebook, or I found you guys through Facebook, and then talking to Shannon.
Perfect.
So it's nice to meet you all. I live in Phoenixville.
Oh, well, that's where I live.
Yeah, okay. We're getting quite a group from Phoenixville. That's really exciting because you guys can team up and do great things there.
Yeah.
So where in Phoenixville do you live, Jane?
I live in the 200 block of Morgan Street.
Okay. I live, you know where Carson is? Okay, so if you're on Star Street and you made a left, if you're headed towards 23, sorry, my chickens. If you're headed towards 23, you'd make a left onto Star Street, right where the synagogue is.
Yeah.
And then I'm back there.
Okay.
And I have a little, I might have
to. Is that a rooster?
Yes.
Does he not know that it's not dawn? It's almost sunset.
No, he doesn't seem to know what time it is ever.
I had one that crowed all the time too.
It's probably going to be dinner soon, I think.
Poor boy.
He's cute.
So how many chickens do you have, Erin?
22.
Oh my word.
And there's no problem with the borough?
No, you're allowed to have chickens in Phoenixville. You need a 25-foot setback.
Ah, yes.
And my neighbors are fantastic.
Good.
Been here for 20 years and I know them pretty well. And
wonderful. Yeah. So tell me again, if I'm going from Bridge to from Bridge to Nut Road, do I turn right or left on your street?
You turn left onto Manavon Street.
Oh, okay, Manavon.
You would make, from Manavon, you make a right, I think, onto Carson.
Okay.
But you'll see, I mean, if you drive back here, you'll see my yard. My front yard's like the one that looks like a disaster zone to everybody.
Okay.
I've got piles of wood chips in it. And everything's being dug up and planted.
Okay. Well, I'd love to see more of you. Yeah.
Thank
I was telling Susan that our Living Landscapes group had Shannon speak about native plants last Friday.
Right.
And then this month, our Living Landscapes group will have a herbalist from Camp Hill showing us how to make tinctures from the herb
Yep.
garden.
That's pretty cool.
So love to have you come if you can.
Oh, are you doing it on Zoom or in person?
It'll be in person up at the Reservoir Community Garden.
Oh, I'd love that.
Good.
That's really fun.
Okay, well, I'll get the information to you one way or another.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how many people have joined? You guys, I know you're relatively new.
We don't have a fixed membership. We our mission is to connect with, get people connected with each other. So we have a core group of 7 people that plans things and develops the different working groups. And we have 5 different working groups, and the working groups don't really have specific memberships either, but they do projects. And so we just have our kind of fingers out everywhere.
I think it's a great thing to do right now, and getting people to become more aware and not as blind is.
We're going to be at the Green Earth Festival. Do you know about that? It's down at the Farmers Market on the 18th, Saturday, the 18th of June.
Okay.
Yeah, not June, September.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Green Earth Festival is cool. It's the 10th anniversary of it. The Green Team in Phoenixville has been going for 30 years, and they decided 10 years ago to have this Green Earth Festival. And so we'll be there.
Okay.
And then the next day we're sponsoring a showing of the movie, The Story of Plastic. Have any of you heard of that movie?
Mm-hmm.
It's a real heartbreaker about plastic all around the world and what to do about it. And we'll be showing that at the Colonial Theater.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, so would love to get that information out to everybody.
I'll do what I can to help.
Thank you.
If you have a post on Facebook, I can.
We do under Phoenixville Area Transition.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Shannon was telling me a little bit about you guys.
Oh, good. Yes, we love Shannon. She's wonderful. I'm so glad she found you all.
Yeah, I have been replanting natives. I guess it started, I don't know, about a year ago.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's fun, but it is a lot.
It is, and it takes a couple of years for them to really look their best.
I think they look pretty cool now, actually. I'm really happy with them. There are some things I still have to get rid of, like my butterfly bush, which I'm dealing, I know I have to cut it down, but it's hard. I've got a maple tree out front, a Japanese maple that I'm going to cut down. And
oh dear. Oh, I have one of those too, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is really beautiful, but it doesn't host anything.
Really.
Nothing lives on it.
Really.
I just keep looking at it, and the more I do this, the less I want those things in my on my land.
Good for you. Their beauty. You start to see things differently, and beauty is just not aesthetic anymore. Right. Beauty becomes about the life that you can provide, the means of survival for so many other things.
Yeah,
well said.
That's exactly it. I think I saw, did you do a speech? I'm sorry, you're under Wild Ones. What's your name? Jessie. Okay, so I did see Shannon asked me, showed me the video you did. I think that was you.
Okay. It was probably me.
Mostly going over Doug Tallamy's book. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of it, he is definitely an inspiration for sure.
Cool.
So, if you're doing some replanting this fall, we are having a members only plant purchase with North Creek Nursery. If you're interested in getting in on that, that's for members, and it probably closes this week. So Jessie will have details on that later in the meeting. And
Yep.
if you
Sorry,
join
go
us,
on.
You're welcome to purchase with us.
I probably won't this time because I spent a small fortune at Edge of the Woods last week.
Oh, fun. Good.
Waited until
So,
this Monday. They
I
had
think
double stamps. They
What's
just
that?
did double stamps.
They had double
They just did
stamps.
double stamps on Monday. So I went and spent a small fortune for the double stamps.
Oh no,
Oh,
I wish I'd known
so
that.
I think we are
But
going to get started,
Did you grab
everybody.
any of the
I'm sorry, go ahead.
7. Okay.
Jesse, I was just going to ask if you got any of the golden Alexander that's there because it's covered in caterpillars.
I didn't because I have some, but and it is actually volunteering very nicely in surprise parts of my yard. So I'm really excited to see what it does over the next few years because I put it in 3 years ago and now I'm finding it fun places. So I should have chock full of caterpillars soon.
Cool.
Okay, guys, so I want to welcome everybody to our August meeting. It's good to see new and returning faces. Unfortunately, the way I have my screen set up, I have to kind of scroll down to see everybody. So welcome. Susan, if you can do me a huge favor and keep an eye on the comments and let me know if anybody says anything that I need to address immediately, or we'll just go over stuff kind of at the end. But I wanted to let everybody know that we have had 8 new members since our last meeting, and we are at a total of 61 members. That is from starting at, I think we had 6 in December. We are at 61 now. So very excited. We are getting lots more travel on our Facebook page, Instagram, on our website. So we are doing some really great things to attract members. If you're new to our meetings, these are our officers. I'm Jessie, I'm the president. Audrey is our vice president, and she most likely will not be able to attend tonight. She's got some family matters that she is attending to. Susan is here. She is our secretary and webmaster. Thank goodness. She provides us great highlights from each meeting. And she is also the one who is brave enough to collate all the orders for the plant sale that you'll hear more about later. Michelle is our treasurer, and I know that she had a bit of a conflict for the beginning of the meeting. She's going to try and make it towards the end. Lindy is our membership chair, and she will not be here tonight. She's at Knoebels, I think. And our advisor, Marilyn, is probably still in Maine, so we're not going to see her. So you can reach any of us if you have any questions or comments at the Wild Ones of SEPA at gmail.com email address, and we will forward it to the right chapter officer to get you the answers you need. And I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted because I have bumblebees like right beside me, and I love them and they keep drawing my attention. We have a YouTube channel that you can find all of our past meetings on, the recordings. So we've had some really great speakers. So check that out. Lots of information on there. And I believe our website has all of this information also. Lindy was kind enough to make us an Instagram. I know nothing about it, so good luck. If you have questions, I'm going to have to forward them to her, but we have gotten members from there, so I know that it is a great way for some people to get information. And she told me we just broke 100 followers the other day. On Monday, we broke 100 followers, so we're growing. This is our website. Thank you, Susan, for making it amazing. And it will get better and better as we grow our content and we add things on there. If you have things you'd like to share or see on the website, let us know. Each month we try and do a member shout out. when people join the chapter, we send them an email saying, welcome, these are the great benefits of being a member. If you'd like us to announce you at a meeting, just let me know. Some people reply and they want to share a story about how they got into native plants, and some people don't. So I just try and let people know about the areas, at least, that people are coming from, in the hopes that you can get together in your communities and have a bigger impact. Each month we have a thought of the month, and we are very blessed that most months Audrey is the writer and creator, and she's a gifted writer, and it's always lovely. She was not able to provide us that this month, so you're stuck with me. I am not a gifted writer, but I wanted to talk with us about the bird illness that is happening and some ways, because we are to be taking our feeders down, we've still not gotten the okay to put them back up. Virginia is moving cautiously towards relaxing restrictions. Some in PA think that that would be a safe way to go, but not everybody agrees with that. So as of right now, I think that they still want feeders to be down, but all is not lost. If you have native plants, you are already providing most of the things the birds needed anyways. The feeders were more for our entertainment and our interaction with the birds, not so much for sustaining them if you have native plants. So I wanted to show you all of these great plants that support all of these different kinds of birds. We don't have to go over all of them, and when we put out the highlights, there will be a link to the article from the Audubon that had all of these in it. But if you are looking to support a certain type of bird, you can plant the plants that they are known to go to. So whether they're going to it for food at a certain time of the season, or they're going to that plant for shelter, get the plants that support the birds that you want to see most. My recommendation, get some of all of them so you help all the birds. But it becomes especially important when there are things like disease outbreaks to realize the birds aren't getting sick when they go to native plants, as long as, you know, pesticides and all of those things are taken out of the equation. It's when we are trying to supplement in other ways because there aren't enough native plants. I had talked with someone who was hesitant to take down their bird feeders because they were worried that the birds would not have another food source, that they're so dependent and used to coming to the bird feeders that the birds wouldn't know what to do. But this person was really blessed to have a lot of native plants to provide the birds, that I said the birds will adapt very quickly, and they'll go to those native plants that are around. They're really not dependent on your bird feeders. It's just kind of a little easier for them, and they've gotten in the habit of it, but they'll quickly get out of the habit if the food's not there, I promise. As you know, there were dozens of black cherries on the trees, and elderberry, and all sorts of great things that were happening right around those feeders. So everybody has to make their own decision, but it's recommended the feeders come down, put in the native plants, and not only then are you providing the fruit, but you're providing the insects that they need to feed their babies and all sorts of great stuff. So from sparrows to cardinals to crows, woodpeckers, chickadees, finches, if you want to see them, put in these plants. I'm very excited to check my list here and make sure that, maybe not yet. One of our members reached out to me and asked if he would be able to speak about a passion of his, but I don't see him that he's in attendance yet. So maybe I will check a little bit later. and in the hopes that maybe he's just running a little bit late. So don't mind me while I skip over this next slide. Okay, we are going to talk about some chapter business. We have some really exciting things happening with our chapter. We have taken on our first public outreach project. We are adopting a part of a very visible part of an elementary school, and we are going to help them replace the invasives that have moved in, weed, mulch, and plant. Our chapter is going to plant native plants for them. The teachers are going to incorporate teaching about native plants and live garden demonstrations and having the kids help plant and weed and do all sorts of things in the garden. So this is amazing. We have had the MOU signed now. We do have the budget in place for the plants, so everything is a go. All members should have received an email requesting volunteers to help do this project. So if you're available on those dates, which I will have a slide up later that tells you the dates, please let us know. If you can even give just an hour, every hour that everybody can give will help. We are going to use the leftover plants from that project to give as incentives at our fall community events. This will be the first time we're doing tabling events in the community. We are going to be at the Phoenixville Green Earth Festival. I have a slide up later for you to take down that information. We have gotten a sponsorship for the first time. Hattrick Honey is going to sponsor us for a table at the Ludwig's Corner County Fair, and that will be an exciting opportunity to interact with a lot of people who maybe don't even know about native plants, aren't even aware of the concept yet, and we get to reach them. And then to do all of those things, because we are a new chapter, we need to put some money into the supplies we need to do tabling events. So we're going to have a table runner printed so that we present a good face to the public when we're out doing these events. This is the upcoming opportunity to carry out our mission of educating others on the benefits of native plants. Our chapter has agreed to adopt this large, nearly 200 square foot raised bed at the grand entrance to the Hillsdale Elementary School in Westchester. In addition to the raised bed, there's a very large, over 600 square foot sidewalk landscaped area, both of which have been neglected for years. Both of these areas are overrun with weeds and invasive plants. So on August 7th and 8th from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., to try and stay away from the heat of the day, we are partnering with the PTO and their garden club to help clear these two areas, spread mulch that the school will supply. Once the raised bed is cleared and mulched, our group will fund the plugs for second graders to plant in late September while learning about the value that native plants provide. You can email Michelle if you're able to attend that. And if you email me, I will forward it to her, not a problem. She's asking that everybody bring their own tools and gloves. And if you have a wheelbarrow that you want to provide or some way to carry away the things that we're pulling out, please do that. And lots of water and sunscreen. We want to transform this schoolyard from invasives to native, and then be teaching the community, not just the kids, but also the community, what a native plant bed looks like. This is along the sidewalk, the other section that will be done. We have a treasurer's report. I'm not sure. Let me just go down the list and see if Michelle has made it. No. Okay.
Hey, Jesse, I'm dialed in only, and I'm driving, but I am here.
Perfect, great. So don't worry about speaking to the chart. I will go over it, but we wanted to have some transparency because all of our funds are from your due money. When you pay to become a member of Wild Ones, a portion of that comes back to the chapter. So we wanted you to know what's happening with your money and your organization. And so you can see we have just started. This is our first real expense. We had one donation for an amazing guided tour that we took by the Brandywine Conservancy, and we donated to them, another nonprofit, amazing organization. We paid for our Octorero order, which was our first plant sale months ago. So we will be having expenditures for this coming plant sale. So we hope to give you a treasurer report, if not every month, at least every other month, more than quarterly, so that you can see your money is going to a good place. Mostly to get native plants in the ground. That is our biggest. We want plants in the ground, and we want people to know about why it's so important. Some other chapter business. Susan, if you prefer to speak to this, I would love that, but we have board nominations coming up.
Sure, Jesse. So the National Wild Ones Organization tells us, is our governing body, and tells us the things that we need to do organizationally. And one thing is, every year at the November meeting, we will have elections for the next year's board. There could also be committee elections if we have committees. So we're encouraged to form a nominating committee, which is what we're doing here. I will organize it. So any member who would like to be part of the nominating committee, or who would like to serve as an officer, or knows someone who would like to serve as an officer, please email me. Is my email up there, Jesse? No. The email is secretary, Wild Ones, SEPA. I don't know my own email. I don't know my own email. How are we going to do this? Well, Jesse, it'll be in the highlights of the minutes. The email will be in the highlights of the minutes. So
Yep.
Email me if you'd like to join the committee or have input to the committee. And the committee will probably meet by Zoom because we're so far flung, and we will put together an officer slate in time for the November meeting. So we have a couple months, but don't forget about it. And if you're interested at all in serving, here are the current officers. Everything but vice president is there. This is on our website too. There are 2 pages of descriptions. There are some committee chairs that we don't have open, except we have a membership coordinator. And they're pretty interesting. So read over the descriptions. If you're interested in chairing or serving on one of those committees, let me know, and we'll form the committee.
Excellent. And don't worry if you don't have a chance to read through all of the descriptions. Like Susan said, they are on the website. We are interested, if you are just interested in having more to do with running the chapter and you don't know what your title will be yet, we will figure out a spot that helps you do the things you're passionate to do. Another exciting thing that we're doing with the chapter is, we have talked about it, but the wholesale pricing order that we're putting together to North Creek. So this is a great benefit of being a member. Most people don't have access to wholesale pricing because the minimum purchase price is usually $350, $500, something like that. While I would love to be able to spend that, I typically can't at any one shot. So the great thing about wholesale pricing is we all get to order less than that, but our cumulative total is way more than that. So North Creek wants to deal with us because we have a lot of money to spend collectively. So we started this order last month, and Susan has been working diligently to stay on top of every time somebody sends her an order, fixing the numbers and making sure that everything is just ducks in a row. It's amazing because there's a lot of moving parts to this. If you're not familiar, North Creek sells mostly native, but not all native, flats of herbaceous material. So you're not going to get your trees and shrubs from them. You're going to get mostly your flowering plants, your grasses, your sedges, those things. So you look on North Creek's available plant materials list, which goes and changes very quickly. You look to make sure that the plants are available by, what did we decide on, Susan? September 15th?
I'm sorry, Jesse, but the audio cut out for a minute, so I didn't hear everything that you said. But I heard September 15th. The order is scheduled for delivery sometime the week of the 13th. They will tell us the date the week before. So talk about moving parts. We have moving parts. But everything will come together. Members who delivery will be at Jesse's house in Pottstown. But if there's a closer place for you to pick up, I think all or most of the board members are going to volunteer to pick up other members' orders if you live closer to one of us. So that email will go out as well to everyone who's ordered, giving you a range of pickup locations to choose from. And as long as that number of flats will fit in our cars, the board members are happy to bring the plants closer to you. So we'll let you know everything about your order closer to the date, including how much you owe. At some point, payment will be sent to the treasurer.
So I have gotten some email questions about how
Did I
much.
cover everything? Because the screen did.
Yeah, Susan, can you hear me?
I can now. It was frozen for a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry. A few people have reached out to me and asked about how much the plugs cost. And the cost is variable and dependent on how much a whole flat costs and then how many plugs you personally want to take. The rough idea is they cost between $1 and $2 a piece. But you can find out how much the flat is, again, by checking the North Creek Nursery inventory.
Well, the availability list also has the per plug price broken out. So you don't have to do math. It tells you there is shipping. Shipping, you can count on about $3.50 per flat. So if you're buying less than a flat, divide by the number that you're buying. You have to do your own math there to estimate. And then we will calculate everything out and send you a final total for your order once you've ordered.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if anybody has any other questions about that, we can talk about that towards the end or send us an email and we can help clarify things. We are going to be publishing a partial list that we're looking to fill. Those are flats that still need people to say they will take some plugs of to fill the flat in order to order it. So that will be coming out. Hello, chicken. That will be coming out very soon.
That's good.
That was literally the, oh, look, a chicken meme. I was just a meme. Okay, so we have exciting news that we are now not the only chapter in Pennsylvania. One of our amazing members from Pittsburgh, Ed, has started a seedling chapter in Western PA. He is amazing and is going to take over the world. He's doing such a great job with outreach. They've already met their way past their minimum for chartering. They just have to get their officers in place. They've already had their first event. He's just amazing. So I'm so happy for them. And we're hoping sometime in the future that we can do some collaboration and maybe meet halfway and do some kind of fun inter-chapter trip. I don't know. We've got grand ideas. So it's really exciting. I'm happy for them. It's just more people spreading the word. So really great that Ed took that on. Now, every month we try and have a theme, a topic that we're going to cover, something we're going to educate about. A lot of times we get guest speakers in. As you can imagine, because we're all super busy at this time of year, the guest speakers that I wanted to have were not available for this meeting. So our topic was, or is going to be, water features in the landscape. And I found two very basic, very informative, short videos about this topic that I want to share with you. They're off of YouTube, so if for some reason the quality is poor or there's a problem, we will have the links in the highlights so you can check this information again. But we are going to try this and hope that it works.
Okay.
Jesse, you might want to pause the video and select optimize for audio.
I was trying to find
The
that.
audio is not coming in well.
I don't know where to do that. I'm looking. I'm not seeing where.
Otherwise, it sounds like we're listening to the presentation through your computer speaker, through your computer microphone.
Got you, but do you know where I find that?
It's on one of the host menus.
I am still looking. Okay, share sound, optimize for video clip. Now all your faces went away. Okay, hold on. Bear with me. Aha, I got you back. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Try this. Don't want to miss that jazzy music. Okay, here we go.
Not only do they look great, but they can provide a relaxing atmosphere that can be used for many years to come. Water features come in many sizes, shapes, and styles, but there are basically three that are most commonly used. The simplest of these is called a fountainscape. Examples include bubbling boulders, natural spillways, and overflowing vases and urns. The components used in a fountainscape include a reservoir, sometimes called a basin or a bowl, the pump, and the decorative feature of your choice. A step up from a fountainscape is called a pondless waterfall. A pump moves water to the top through a natural waterfall and stream and then back into the ground. The pondless waterfall and stream is constructed by installing a pump and a vault inside a reservoir. The pump is sized to be sure that there's just the right amount of water flowing down. The vault is sized to be sure it holds all the water in the event that the pump shuts down for any reason. With a little bit of handiwork and vision, this kind of water feature can fit into any landscape. The third type of water feature that is great for any landscape is the ecosystem pond. Ponds are finished utilizing decorative stone and boulders along with aquatic plants and fish. With nearly limitless design options, ecosystem ponds can be as small as 3 foot by 5 foot or as large as 30 foot by 50 foot or even larger. Ponds are typically 2 to 3 feet deep and they have a pump that circulates the water while a skimmer filters out debris. Ponds also have a biological filter which filters the water and supports the propagation of beneficial bacteria. Some designs may also include an ultraviolet filter or a bog filter. To eliminate water loss through percolation, a thick rubber liner is installed on top of an underlayment. The underlayment cushions and protects the liner. Maintaining your water feature can be easy by using proven techniques that keep your water healthy and clean. Water feature manufacturers have combined science with simplicity so that these treatments can be applied in a professional and efficient way. The labels on these products will give you precise and easy to understand instructions on how and when to apply them, ensuring reliable results. So as you can see, there are many water feature options that will fit any landscape. To learn more, you can sign up for one of our education classes, stop by a local Ewing branch, or visit us online at ewingirrigation.com.
So I don't know anybody at Ewing. I do think that they do have a local branch.
If you live in a qualified zip code, you may be eligible.
Who knows what's going to pop up next. But I liked that just because it laid out very basically what the different simple options are. The next video goes into just a little bit more detail. So it's a little longer. The video should still be ready to go.
Water is an important component of the landscape and should certainly be considered as you go through the designing process. Water can add so much, both visually, if you think about the way light plays off the surface of the water, and also the sound that water makes can be incredibly soothing. But today we're visiting Pond Pro Shops to look at just a variety of the types of water features that can be used. And I'm joining here with Alice. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well,
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
I thought maybe we could walk around and look at a few different types of water features. Obviously, maybe the most basic or traditional are the freestanding features.
They are, and that's usually how a customer might start out, would be a freestanding fountain.
Mm-hmm.
So many different styles, from traditional to oriental, from old and new looks anymore, and from especially small to large. We have grandioso fountains.
Yeah,
they're just really make a statement to homeowners.
Absolutely.
And that's our biggest seller right now for some reason.
I find that surprising.
I know, we do too, but it's a pleasant surprise.
It's wonderful. And now when we move from the freestanding, and by that we mean the pumps included in...
The water, the whole bowl is its source. That's the source of water right there.
Okay, and then maybe the next step would be to go to a unit that has a catch basin underneath.
That's right. There's different size chambers.
Mm-hmm.
Because we sell them by kits that will have the pump and everything, and that particular box holds the water. That's the source.
Okay.
And you can put on top of that the bubbling rocks, from the smallest here again to the largest.
Okay.
And the customer picks the rock and we drill it.
Yeah, and there's so many different styles of rock as well,
Right.
different types of stone, and each of those gives its own look.
You're exactly right about that. We really prefer the sandstone because it takes about 10 minutes to drill versus the granite. It takes a long time.
Okay, but they all add a different character to the landscape.
And you're right. You're exactly right.
Now, something that we've seen recently that's really popular are these vases.
Aren't they beautiful?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we have one at our own garden.
Do you really? I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. That's wonderful.
And I think one of the wonderful things about these is there's such diversity.
Here again is the customer's choice. And what we like to do is do multiples with the pottery. And this has been a big thing, and it's because of many different aspects, from money, something a person can do themselves and afford, and it doesn't take a lot of water.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
if we have a drought, we don't have to worry so much because and this can be incorporated into a garden.
Okay.
That even makes it better.
Yeah, and I think, so here again, we have a catch basin underneath.
We do.
Okay.
But we definitely do. And that's been there. We change those pots out all the time because usually a customer comes in and wants that one, you know, and we just change it out and go from there.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, thank you, Alice. I'm going to join Evan now and look at some larger water features in the landscape.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, I'm joined now by Evan Smith. We're going to look at some larger water features. What are some of the benefits of adding a larger water feature to the garden?
Well, the benefits you get from a large water feature are you have the ability to use plants, and you have the ability to have fish inside the pond, which everybody enjoys having fish in the pond.
Certainly.
The planting on the outside is what most homeowners enjoy doing because they can use the plants, or they can plant plants around the landscaping as well as marginal plants, which usually are placed right around the edge of the pond.
And those are ones that like to be a little bit wet.
Right. They like to have their feet wet, but their ankles dry.
And I think that's one of the fun things about water garden, to get to use so many different types of plants that otherwise you couldn't enjoy in the landscape.
Right. You also have the plants that are inside the pond as well, that you can plant inside. You have the islands that you can put in the middle of the pond and have plants on those as well.
Okay. Now, if you're thinking about putting a water feature like this in the landscape, what are some of the considerations, especially like a location, for example?
Well, location's pretty key. One thing you want to keep in mind is if you are installing a water feature in a yard, you want to make sure and do it in an area that's not going to get a lot of water runoff.
Okay.
You know, if you are treating your yard for weeds or any kind of things like that, if you get a hard runoff of rain, it can actually go into the pond. So you want to make sure and not put it in a low area in the pond. Another thing to consider is making it to where you can enjoy it all year round.
Okay.
A lot of people don't think about that as far as the wintertime months. They can still enjoy it in the wintertime. They just have to get it to where they can view it from the house.
From inside. Okay, and maybe some people might think you need to have a slope or something to get falling water, and that's not the case.
Not the case. I mean, as far as a natural slope, you can build them up yourself and get a good sounding waterfall. A lot of people think that you have to actually go real high with your water feature in order to get a good sound, but you really don't. I mean, most of these features out here in our area is about 2 foot to 3 foot in height.
Okay.
And so it seems to work really well. The main thing is if you go up 2 feet, you want to make sure and go out around 8 to 10 feet with your berm, just so it doesn't look like a volcano sticking up in the yard.
Okay. And since we're talking about size, how would you maybe size the pond for different locations?
Well, the sizing is one thing that is a lot of times up to the person. One thing we always keep in mind when we're talking to the customers and helping them plan out their water feature is you don't really want to make it too big for the yard or too small for the yard. You want to size it for the type of yard that you have. If you have a really, really small yard and you have a huge pond in the backyard, it doesn't really go together very well.
Okay. Now, if you have a pretty flat yard and you're trying to get that height, what are some ways of, I guess, backing it up so that it looks like it's part of the landscape?
Well, the main thing is just kind of making everything gradual. You don't want to do anything that is, extremely high. You don't want to do anything that looks unnatural. So, like we were talking about earlier on the height of the water features, if you make it 2 foot, if you can just use that formula we used earlier of 8 to 10 feet, it will give it more of a gradual look.
Okay. Now, another way that you can make that transition between the landscape is to have sort of a retaining wall or something like this.
Right. If you don't have the ability to get a lot of topsoil, or if you're wanting to make the project a little bit easier, you can also do a more of a formal retaining wall behind it. A lot of people will use this type of wall if if they have a small yard that's fenced in that has a stockade fence or a wooden fence. You can use this type of wall to make it look more natural, as well as not get dirt up against your fence.
Okay.
So we have this used a lot in smaller type yards.
Okay. And I really enjoy the natural look of the waterfalls, water gardens, but you can also get an even more formal look to some of these.
You sure can.
Well, there's a couple different more formal looking water features here. And this is one that looks quite a lot like what we just looked at.
Yes, these actually are the same type of water features or ponds. As far as the filtration, how things work, the fish that you can put in. A lot of times what people will do is if they have more of a formal looking backyard, they won't want to use the native stone. They'll want to use something that stands out or that you're able to see a little bit better. Now, this type of rock will be native in certain areas.
Right.
But if it isn't native, or if you're not wanting to use a native rock, you can use something that's different to make it stand out a little bit better.
Okay. And also maybe the plants you put around it can add to that formality as well. Right. And this is a different kind of more formal looking pond.
Yes, this type of pond is usually put in by people that have more of a formal backyard, that have a lot of statuary. They're not necessarily worried about everything looking natural like it's been there. They want it to be stand out, or they want it to stand out and to be real pretty. They can do plantings around the outside edge. A lot of times the waterfalls are more of a sheep type waterfall like this, rather than going over boulders or rocks.
Okay. There's one more type of water feature I want to look at.
Okay.
Well, this is a pondless waterfall, so at the end there's not a big pool catching all the water.
Right.
How does this work?
Well, these have different names in the industry. A lot of times people call them disappearing waterfalls or pondless waterfalls. What they actually do is you have a chamber that's down below here in the bottom of the water feature, and it's around 2 foot deep. So you basically got a pond, but it's just not visible. It's just under the ground. There's a chamber in there that your pump sits down inside of, and then rock and gravel are built up around it. So your waterfall comes down and just disappears down into that chamber, and you're not able to see it.
Okay.
The great things about these is you still get the sound. Still get the sound of the waterfall, but you don't have a lot of the maintenance or anything like that, or liability for small children.
Okay. And while you mentioned maintenance, can we talk a little bit about some of the maintenance needs when you have water features like these?
Yeah, the water features, you know, normally will require a, you know, every week, every 2 week type maintenance regimen. Most of the time, what causes the maintenance is if you have too many fish in the pond. You want about 1 inch of fish for every 10 gallons in the pond.
Okay.
So ponds themselves are a little bit more maintenance than pondless waterfalls, just because you have the fish in the pond, and also it's just a bigger body of water. So usually once every week or once every 2 weeks, you're going to have to clean the filter pads in the filter and in the skimmer as well.
Okay. Is there any special winterizing that goes into?
In the wintertime, there's really not anything different than what you do in the regular months. Because if you have as much as 2,000 gallons per hour flowing out of your waterfall, you can actually keep your waterfall going all year round. The main thing is just keeping one little area in your pond thawed out to where the fish waste and gases can get out of the water. A lot of times people think that the cold weather is what hurts their fish, but actually what it is when the top of the water freezes over, the gases aren't allowed to escape the water. So as long as you keep one little area thawed out, you're okay to use it all year round.
Okay. So we actually want to keep our water features going.
Right, right. 24 hours a day, every day if possible. The pondless waterfalls don't require as much maintenance or cleaning. Just because you don't have the big body of water, you can always turn them off and let them dry out, clean them off the water hose, and you're done. So they don't require near as much maintenance as the ponds, but you also don't get the fish as well.
Okay. Well, thank you, Evan, and thanks everyone here at Pond Pro for having us out today.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. So I liked that second video because it had some options that I didn't even know that there was a disappearing waterfall feature. I've been really interested in putting in some type of a pond or a water feature on my property. And I still haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do, but I liked seeing the options, even though neither of them spoke to doing a water feature to attract birds. The moving water attracts birds, and I would also like to have something that is deep enough for frogs to overwinter. So I believe that has to be 3 feet. It's like almost 3 feet, isn't it, Susan?
You know what? I did the world's easiest pond because I can't dig because I'm on rock. So I bought a 50-gallon stock watering trough at Tractor Supply. And I dug the hole for the trough and I sunk it in at grade, put some rocks around it, put one of those recirculating pumps in it, and I built up rock in the back with native stone so that I had a little tiny waterfall. Poof. And I have a frog. I don't have fish. I have a frog who's been there for 3 or 4 winters now. And the birds come and sit on the rocks and drink water.
So how deep would you say that is?
No more than a foot or a foot and a half, if whatever the 50-gallon trough is. It's really it's the smallest thing I could get because I had to dig it in rock. So
wow.
I knew I wouldn't be able to dig it very deep. So I don't know where the frog lives. All I know is the frog comes back every year, and I don't have a stream. The stream is like hundreds of feet away.
Yeah.
So I don't think the frog, and I've seen the frog in the garden too. So they overwinter somewhere.
Right. Awesome. I do think that I have read that if they are going to overwinter directly in your pond, it has to be, I want to say 30 inches, 2.5 feet, because
Deeper.
say again?
It needs to be deeper than that.
Because even if it's not at least that deep, they will freeze. Like there's the chance that in harsh winters that far down, they can freeze.
Yeah, you should
That's
at
our
least.
frost level is 3 feet.
Yep. So this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to information that's out there about ponds. So it's a little teaser for all of us to be thinking on some scale, some level, we can provide water for birds and frogs.
Jesse, I'm going to show you guys real quickly. It's easy to do, but
I would love that.
I don't know if you can see it, but I did the same thing as Susan. Oh, let's see. Can you see my stock tank?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not a difficult thing to do.
I can walk you to mine. Girls. Hey, my girls.
What do you have, Susan?
I'm walking to it right now. Hang on just a
No, I
second.
meant who are you talking to? Do you have critters?
Oh, my chickens.
So Erin, where do you have frogs? Do they overwinter not in your tank?
So this is my first year with this. I used to have, I do have frogs. I picked them out of my parents' pond. But nothing's going to be able to overwinter in there. I'm probably going to have to take it to a friend's pond. You really need to be much deeper. I used to do like reef tanks and corals. So I do know a lot about setting up ponds and tanks and all that. I also used to do high-tech planted tanks.
Yeah, that is lovely, Susan.
Yeah, that is absolutely beautiful.
I think that might be the same tank you have, Erin. It looks pretty familiar, but this is sunk in the ground and lined with stones, and I don't have to pump on
much nicer. Mine's the ghetto tank.
Well, no,
it's just a wonderful example of the spectrum of things that you can do to provide a water feature.
I also did one of the things I did like a little butterfly dish. This is really easy, but also I love your little pond. But I don't know, it's not natives, but that attracts a lot of bees.
Hey Jesse, if you stop sharing, then it's possible that the speaker's view will be slightly larger and we'll be able to see their pictures, what they're showing us better.
Let me actually, it's a great point.
Well, I did put it on speaker view, but then I get, everybody who makes a noise in the background kind of thing.
Let me see.
No, so I was just showing that little water dish because that's something that's really easy for people to do. Also puddling dishes for the butterflies.
Puddling meaning providing pebbles and sand.
And a little bit of mud because the males need to get their minerals there. So sometimes like if you're walking by a stream, you'll see a whole bunch of butterflies in the mud. That's what they're doing, is getting minerals.
So this is the fun part about doing Zoom when everybody's at home, because it's like live show and tell. Except for the motion sickness with everybody walking around their yard, but besides that, it's amazing.
I want to see people's yards. Can we do that?
Well, can you talk about that butterfly water bowl again? Who was Erin?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just if you put a little bit of mud and sand in the bottom of a dish, sometimes I use bird feed, bird water baths, but put rocks in it and stuff for them so they can get out. But butterflies, male butterflies need minerals, so that they'll puddle, they'll group together in areas like that if they have them.
And do you have to keep cleaning it? I do keep like a little dish, like
Yeah,
a really shallow dish, but I always am having to empty it. I mean, if you have some mud or rocks in the bottom of something.
Plants help. If you put some plants in there, that will help cleanse the water. It's same theory with my pond, is if you put enough plants in, they're gonna take up all the nutrients, so you won't have to clean it as often. I just use a little bit of stone crop in mine.
Okay.
But
if anybody ever gets the chance to go to the Hungry Hook Farm Nursery, it's in Bainbridge outside of Lancaster, or the other side of Lancaster, I guess. She has an amazing pond set up there. She uses an old canoe as a waterfall that flows down into a small pond in the ground, and it's all planted. So the filter function is plants. It's really exciting to watch. She's got frogs there, and a snapping turtle moved in. So then she had less frogs, but it was, it's really neat. I highly recommend everybody go to that nursery. She is wonderful. She self-propagates all of the plants she grows there, and you just can't go right now. She opens back up the beginning of September, the first weekend in September. But that would be a fun field trip. We should do that. And Erin, you had mentioned about going to people's yards. I'm really sad that you missed. We went to Kathy's for a garden tour, and it was amazing. It was really a lot of fun. So we will be doing that again. If anybody has a property that they want us to take a tour of, everybody is excited to see what's going on and what we're all doing in our yards. So just reach out and let me know about that. I'm going to share my screen again, unless anybody has any other water feature things that they want to show and tell or discuss.
I want to come to your yard.
Everybody can come to my yard any day. I wish I could be in it more often. So let's, even if I'm not here, welcome. You're welcome to come over. But I would love to walk around my yard with everyone.
Cool.
Let's find where we were. Okay, this again, share. Okay, so our next upcoming opportunities. Now my other screen went off. Okay, some fun things I want to share with everybody. A friend of mine sent this to me. There is a Pennsylvania pollinator photo contest happening.
Oh.
There are prizes for adult and youth. If any of the youth in your life are learning about natives and pollinators and are really excited about it, have them enter this contest. There's a complete list of rules, and everything can be found through the brandywine.org photo contest link. You can submit a maximum of 3 photographs, and they have to be received by August 13th. So you only have 9 days to get on that. I know that I find some really fun, amazing things on my native plants. So this is a way to look at everybody else's and present your own. I lost all your faces. I'm trying to find them again. Let's see. There we go. Does that square get in your way when you're looking at stuff?
Yes.
So it's better if I don't see your faces? Okay, I'll do that. I'm sorry. There, that's a little better. Okay. The next thing, super excited. This just happened today. Hi, babe. It's a 10% discount during the month of September at Edge of the Woods Nursery. All you have to do is show your membership card, which is downloadable from Wild Ones on the national website, not our chapter website, but the national website. If you've never been to Edge of the Woods Nursery, it's amazing. They carry an amazing variety of native plants, strictly native plants, and depending where you fall on the spectrum of what you call native, meaning if you go by ecoregion versus if you go by native to the United States, you will find something there to make you happy. They have lovely little demonstration gardens so that you can see plant combinations. They are very knowledgeable and willing to answer any questions you have. They are also having just this week it's like Customer Appreciation Week. So you can, I think they're doing a photo contest. Actually, I did submit a picture of Lindy with my very most favorite native plant, Joe Pieweed, that's super cute, that's up there right now. And lots of people have shared great pictures of their kids and their gardens, and it's just a really neat thing. So check them out. In the month of September, go show them your membership card from Wild Ones, and they will give you a 10% discount. They are a woman-owned local nursery who's growing in a responsible fashion, and we should definitely support them. The next thing, I wanted to go over the save the dates, the community engagement opportunities that we have. We talked about the Hillsdale Elementary School, those dates. You're emailing either the Wild Ones of SEPA or Michelle if you would like to volunteer for those dates. The Ludwig's Corner Country Fair, those are the dates, September 4th through the 6th. We especially need volunteers Sunday and Monday. We are also hoping to have a table at the Philly Honey Fest. If you've never been to the Philadelphia Honey Fest, it is a really neat event. It is held Friday, Saturday, and Sundays at different locations in and around Philly, and they have live honeybee demonstrations. They have lots of beekeepers selling their honey. They have a lot of different groups that have a part in Philly that are represented there. I am available to table the event on the Friday at Glen Ford. My favorite location is actually Bartram's Garden. They have a large native garden there, and they usually sell plants there. One of the things that we are doing, I think we mentioned it briefly, at these community engagement opportunities is we hope to give a native plant to anyone who joins the chapter, to welcome them into the chapter. So I think that's a fun and exciting outreach, and what a great incentive to join a group. If you're going to give me a plant, I'm probably going to join your group. So it's the way to get me. I don't know. Then September 18th, the Green Earth Festival. Again, if you're available to volunteer to stand at our table and talk with people about native plants, just reach out and let us know. If you're not available because you have other time commitments, but you just want to stop by the festival, say hi to us, that's great too. We want people to attend these events even if they can't devote all of the time to tabling. But it is a great thing to do and a really fun opportunity to talk to people and spread the word. And then September 25th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. we'll be at the West Vincent Township Community Day in Chester Springs. And that is the coming together of a lot of organizations that share like-minded goals of being ecologically friendly and sustainable. Native plants, I know they do things related to solar panels and clean water. So that's a really great event also. This is again the Philly Honey Fest. You can check out their website to see the schedule of events of what's happening at each of the dates and locations. The Green Earth Festival we talked about. Most members should have received, I want to see you guys again, sorry. I'll move you over to the side. Most members probably received an email with this opportunity to register for a free event through Wild Ones National, meet the designers for the Boston Native Garden design. For those of you who aren't familiar, National Wild Ones has come up with, I believe this is the 9th design now, the 9th different region, or it might be the 4th region, the 9th design. So you can get on the webinar and hear about how their design process, how they made their decisions, which could be very informative for if you're trying to do any designs in your property. If you didn't receive the email about that, email me and I'll forward you the information so you can register. And I'm sure if you got on the wildones.org, the national website, there would be a way to register on there also. This is a conference that is being held online. I attended this conference last year and it was amazing. Not only did they have really great speakers, and it was a 3-day event, but they had fun games built into the conference. They had vendors that you could visit at certain times. It was as real or as realistic as it could be for being a virtual conference. I even won a prize for participating in a scavenger hunt, which was super fun. And it had more than 400 attendees. So there were people from all over the country attending. So it was a great way to meet people and talk about things that were happening in locations near and far to get ideas to bring to the chapter, to bring to other groups. It was a fun event, and for a 3-day conference, it was relatively well priced. So you can check them out on their website, and they have a lot of great missions and sponsors also. And another great highlight is because you know how if you attend a conference, there's usually things you miss, like you have to decide between 2 or 3 speakers in any one time frame. Well, with this, you actually get access to all of the recordings of all of the presentations, and you have access for a year. So you can go through and see everything, even if you didn't get to see it real time, because you can see the recordings. So that's an added bonus, definitely. Another great thing that has been happening throughout the summer is the Ohio State University does an amazing job at education. And they have a bee short course for community scientists that focuses on mostly native bees. And, on August 20th at 10 a.m., they're having their next webinar with the author and biologist Heather Holm. And if no one's heard of her, she is an amazing scientist and author who is focused on native bee populations. She just came out with a really great book called Wasps, and it's super fascinating to read about all the different kind of native wasps that there are. So she'll be discussing insect photography and using iNaturalist to observe and document wild bees. So once you register for any of these events, you then get access to the recordings if you can't make one in the series. So you can check out this website to go through the list of available recordings to watch, and they're all free. It's an amazing resource. The only other thing I have for us tonight is a review of our upcoming chapter meetings. We have Matthew Ross, who is the Continuing Education Director at Longwood Gardens, who is going to be giving us next month's presentation on designing with marginal plants and the top destinations for native plants here locally. He took us on an amazing guided tour of the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. And so I'm really excited to see his presentation. Dan, who we have with us tonight, is going to talk with us in October about identifying and controlling invasives. I'm very excited to hear more about that from Dan. In November, we're going to be talking about dividing for the fall. So it's a great time to think about propagating your native plants. And then in December, we're going to talk about winter seed sowing. So if you have any suggestions or requests for topics to cover in the future, shoot me an email. If you know somebody who is an amazing speaker and you want to share their knowledge with us, let me know and I will put a request out to them so that we can get speakers for next year. Is there anything at all anybody else would like to talk about tonight? Let me check the chat. Susan, is there anything I have to address? Okay. Oh, Anna laughed, but she turned her abandoned swimming pool into a pond. That sounds amazing.
Right.
Now I want to acquire an abandoned pool. Should you?
No, you don't. They're big.
Yeah, I just want a small pond.
I was actually chatting with her about that, and she said the insurance company made her get rid of it. But she did have one. Just because it's such a, I don't know. I guess they considered it a hazard.
They probably didn't make her get rid of it, but she would have had to upgrade maybe the fencing or something around it. It was just too expensive.
Probably, yeah.
People have swimming pools, but the insurance for them is not pretty.
Yeah.
Of course, the insurance on a decorative pond, if it's a swimming pool depth, isn't any different because kids could still fall into it. So just because it's not recreation doesn't mean it's not a hazard. So just don't tell your insurance company if you put in a pond. That's the lesson there.
And keep it a secret. Right, and be responsible about it. Like, you definitely don't want a little kid falling in it, but you should already have fencing and, you know, boundaries in place. So
but we have no fence and a maybe 4-year-old behind us. I mean, he'd have to come through a lot of poison ivy, but technically he could easily get into our yard. There's no way we could afford the fence all the way around our yard.
Yeah, well, depending on the township you live in, there are requirements for having a pool and fencing. So I would assume the same thing would be said about a pond.
You can fence just around the pond. You don't have to fence around your whole property.
Right.
We will have to look into that because we definitely want to have a pond.
Yeah.
But putting a fence around it doesn't quite defeat the purpose, but sort of.
But the benefit, so the fence could be something that a little kid can't climb through, but frogs and things could make it through. So it doesn't have to be like, you know what I mean? But also that video showed us that disappearing waterfall that seems like a great option.
No frogs though.
Everybody, you're gonna want, if you do that, you're always gonna go bigger. You're gonna want to replace.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, we definitely want frogs because we have little peepers in the swale behind us in the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing it for the frogs too. So.
And we did that Bucks County garden tour, and oh my gosh, this one guy, first off, his yard was just amazing. I don't remember what his name was. Remember?
No.
But he had this fabulous pond full of frogs. I just wanted to move into his house. That's our goal, to have his yard as our yard.
There you go. I mean, you've probably only been working on it for what, 10, 20 years? It'll be fine.
Something like that, yeah.
I wanted to mention, I'm working on just a solo I decided I was going to do something with my front yard. So I'm replanting everything in the front yard, and I'm putting up signage and going to put some walkways off of the main sidewalk so that people can actually come in and look. So if anybody has any ideas or thoughts about it, I'm open to any suggestions.
The big sign that says "Don't fall in the pond."
Well, that's in the backyard. This is the front yard because my backyard's just a mess. I mean, it's like I just started planning and didn't put any thought into it. But the front yard, I want to look really pretty because I want people to understand you can landscape with native plants.
Yeah.
So I'm just, if anybody has any thoughts or ideas, I'm open.
So here's an idea. If you're making walkways.
We can't hear you, Susan. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, am I muted?
No, you were just far away from your
phone. Too far away. Sorry. If you're making walkways, make them wider than you think you need them.
Okay.
Because people walk two abreast instead of just singly, and plants come into the sides. So you want a walkway where people don't feel like they're being smothered by the plants, especially if they're tall. There's always the tick issue, so people don't necessarily want to be touched by, brush plants. So make your walkways nice and flat and wide, and you might want to make them ADA accessible. That's up to you.
Oh, I definitely do. Yeah, that's because that ties into my business. So
yeah, if your front yard is flat, then make them ADA accessible. And the wider the walkway, the more inviting it will look to people, because a tiny, narrow little walkway doesn't say "come and see me," but a wide open one would be very inviting.
A great idea. Thank you. Yeah, so it's not just, I'm doing a combination of pollinator. I just love bugs. and so I'm doing a combination of pollinator, animal, creating habitats all over my yard, and also food forests. So I planted a lot of fruit trees, but yeah, it's going to be a fun project.
How much yard do you have?
So I have 1/3 of an acre, which isn't a ton.
Right.
The backyard it's kind of like a flag lot though. But you'd be surprised at what you can fit on 1/3 of an acre, and especially when you talk to your neighbors and ask if you can plant on their land.
Yeah.
Nice.
And every little bit helps, and every demonstration garden helps and shows people, if I can do this, you can do this. And if we all do this, then collectively we have way more than 1/3 of an acre. We have, your third and your third and your third and your acre and your 100 acres. And, it just keeps, it's the way we're going to save the world. It is really exciting. I wanted to, because I just thought of it and I meant to put it in the presentation. Someone reached out to me from, I'm going to get the name wrong, I think. Great Marsh Institute. Does that sound familiar to anybody? It didn't, I didn't know the name, but the person reached out. It is apparently a 600 to 700 acre private property that was in the recent past, like the last 3 years, turned into a nonprofit preserve. And the owner, reached out to me to see if we as Wild Ones would be able to give any ideas or suggestions about increasing the amount of native plants that are there. Apparently they have scientific studies going on there, and maybe some kind of like summer camps or something. They have educational purposes that are happening on this property. So I'm really excited. I believe the bird is really excited too, if you can hear. I am excited to go there. I think I'm going on Monday. If anybody is interested and wants to join me, to walk the property and help her make some decisions, preliminary decisions about some things that she can do with native plants. The property is located somewhere in Elverson. It's an Elverson address.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're available and interested and want to spend some great time with me looking around this property, I'm really excited to do that. You can just email me and we can figure out the details. I want to say I'm doing it like, I don't have my planner on me. So, oh wait, no, I probably don't. So I know nothing without it. There's a chance that I have it on my phone. So I'm going to look quick. Nope, I don't. But either
Jesse,
way,
what was that called again? What's the name of it?
Great Marsh Institute. I found it by Googling, and it's in Elverson. It matched the address she gave me, so I'm not being lured to my death or anything. But it sounds like a really exciting opportunity for Wild Ones to collaborate and get more natives out there, man. That's the key. I think that's all I have tonight. If anybody else has anything, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to call it an evening. I'm going to go watch my husband play hockey soon.
Dark.
Nice to meet you all.
Gonna play in the dark?
Oh, it's ice hockey. So.
Oh, where's the ice?
The ice is in Westchester. If anybody's up, they want to come to a game. No, actually, we're playing in Exton tonight. So it's in Exton.
Well done.
Thank you all. It was lovely to be here.
Meet you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good to see
you.
you.
Thanks,
Jesse.
Jesse. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Awesome, Maria. Shannon, nice work getting all those new people.
Oh yeah, I was excited to see everyone came.
Yeah. And they spoke very highly of the presentation you gave. You got them super psyched for it. So I think we have to make you like new recruiter chair or something. I don't know.
I feel like I like doing it, but I feel like a title would put a lot of pressure on me.
No title.
But yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But I'm glad they were interested. They're doing a lot. Erin's projects she's been sharing with me a lot of what she's doing, and it's just a lot. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah, hopefully we can form a little group in Phoenixville. And
yeah, you're getting she and Jane was also from Phoenixville. So yeah.
Yep, she's great too. So I'll talk to them later about this, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of good things to say.
All right, I'll see you later.
All right, good luck.
Thank you. Good night.
At the hockey game. Take care.
Bye-bye.